Looks like that's still on mute. Let me make sure they're ready.
Light them up. Guess we can leave that off tonight.
Well, it looks like it's still muted, but
It is,
yeah.
but everybody should be up there anyway unless they want to come and have coffee with us.
There we go. Yep. We're good
There it
now
goes.
for the-
All right, very good. All right, good to see everybody again tonight. Kind of a virtual live meeting, but it's working out. So Barbie will let us know if we have anybody online that has a question. So other than that, we'll act as if it is a full live and in-person meeting. So we'll call this meeting to order tonight, May 24th, 2022. And so first order of business is the adoption of tonight's agenda or any requested changes. I hear that there's one, so I'm going to turn to Mr. Jeff, or I know what's coming from.
Thank you, Mayor. So we have a request to add item J.2 under new business, and that is review and award of the 2022 asphalt repair or / resurfacing contract.
Very good. And that was sent out earlier to everybody, all the board members, correct?
Yes, and
Okay.
our Assistant Town Manager, Town Engineer Matt Hubert will be the presenter for that.
Very good. Thanks on that. All right, so we have that request to move it down to new item J2. So there's no other discussion on it. Ask for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the amended agenda.
Very good. All in favor?
Aye.
All five. Great. Move it down. All right, if you would join me tonight in standing for the Pledge of Allegiance, and please stand for a moment of silence, reflection of all the things that happen around us. Thank you, everybody. You may be seated. All right, there are no general public comments as we've been aware of tonight, so we're going to move on to the adoption of tonight's consent agenda. Could I have a motion on that, please?
So moved. So moved.
Very good. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
5 around. We're good to go. Recognitions. Next up is Miss Dina. So, yeah, you have to come to this side of the room tonight. We did that to confuse you, just you.
Hello all. Tonight we're going to be recognizing Mr. Butch. There it is.
Is he joining us online?
Actually, he is at his son's baseball game. There are state championships happening tonight,
Oh,
so
my.
he will not be joining us. But if I can get Nick or Matt to peek their head out so they can join me in this, thank you.
They might not have heard you. They're coming. There you go. Oh, he comes in the side door. There you go. There he is. There's your partner in crime.
Our IT team loves behind the scenes. They don't like to be up here. Come up here with me.
Yeah, as you tell us, step up to the mic. So,
We are here tonight to say thank you. Mr. Butch was a great partnership with the installing of the crash doors at Nesbitt Park, the concessions and restroom area, and he also donated the crash doors as well. Then helped our IT team with the electronics and locking hardware. We were having some difficulties, and we unfortunately had some vandalism at the earlier of the year too that we had to work through. So we just want to say a huge thank you out to him, and being a great partner with our IT team and the town of Waxhaw for all his help and his future help with the park, the new park coming up as well. So we just want to say thank you.
very good. Thank you for that. Mr. Holland, if you listen to this later, thank you for your contribution to our community. Again, it's nice to have those kind of partners that are amongst us. So tell him thanks for us. Yeah, good luck to the kid, see if he does. Do you know what level is it on baseball? Don't have to go down there, I just was curious if you knew.
High school.
High school, okay. Very
High
good.
school state playoffs.
All right, very cool. Outstanding. All right. Thanks,
Thank you.
guys. Appreciate that. All right, we don't have anything on the docket tonight for presentations, so now we have public hearing. Public hearing is for the fiscal 22-23 budget. We've seen a lot of this homework on us before. I'll have a motion to open the public hearing.
I'll make a motion to open the public hearing.
Very good. All in favor?
Aye.
All five. Okay, this public hearing is now open. The presenter is Mr. Jeffrey Wells, our town manager. Jeff, it's all yours.
Thank you, Mayor, and good evening, everybody. So this evening, we have our public hearing for our fiscal year 22-23 budget, and this is just about the culmination of 6 months of work that is put in that generally starts around the holiday season. And of course, the board had their budget workshop earlier this month, about 3 weeks ago, to get to this point. And so this is the presentation for the public, and I will try to be as brief as I can for a somewhat, though, lengthy presentation. So just like last year, we will look to adopt 2 budget ordinances as well as our capital improvement plan. So your operating budget, $16,417,000, and then your capital improvement budget would be $22,371,352.54. And we'll dig into those numbers a little bit as we go along. You would also adopt your capital improvement plan, again, our continuing 5-year plan, as we have gone over since the retreat and moving on through all of our process up to this point. My recommendation is to maintain our tax rate at 38.5 cents. That's been our tax rate since the 2018-19 fiscal year. So this will be the 5th year that we've maintained that same tax rate. The good news is that our tax base has grown enough each year to allow us to maintain that tax rate. So that is very good news. So a penny on the tax rate equals $309,740.26. We derive that not from the full $16 million budget, but from the part that is real property, prior year property collections, and the motor vehicle tax number, which is close to $12 million total. We have other revenues that we'll go over here that are part of that total $16 million. But of course, first and foremost, the major revenue that we can collect is real and personal property tax, and we're estimating that to be $10.9 million this upcoming year. This past year, we had it budgeted at 10.6, and we've currently collected over 10.7. Prior year taxes and penalties, so that's generally taxes that are collected in the previous 10 years. And we're estimating about the similar amount that we collect historically on that at roughly $25,000. Motor vehicle tax, the estimated revenue is $1 million as we continue to grow, particularly as we've been growing residentially at the rate we have, and every one of them typically have 2, 3, sometimes 4 cars in their driveway. That continues to grow at a healthy rate for us. Our second largest revenue category is sales and use tax, and that of course is distributed back to us from the state, and we get a amount monthly back to us from the state, and we're estimating that to be $2.4 million this year. Franchise taxes, that's quarterly payments that we get back from the state, and those are fees that are on your telecommunications bill, that are on your cable bill, and those, we get a fraction of those back as every other locality does from the state on a quarterly basis. Your other revenue sources, the 3 primary ones, are your building inspection revenues, the plan review fees and rezoning application fees, such as all your planning and zoning fees, as well as your parks and recreation, your facility rental fees. And there are some other smaller incidental fees that make that up, but those are the 3 primary ones. We have a few proposed fee schedule updates that we went over in the budget workshop, so just for the sake of time, I won't go over them all, but I'll highlight a couple of them. The most significance, I would say, is major subdivisions. We're adding a $500 flat fee to the cost per lot that we have for that. And we have found that we've had, I would say, a small handful of abatement cases that we've worked in the last couple of years, and we found that we have an administrative cost associated with that, and so we're looking to recoup some of that. And of course, the others there are a lot more incidental, but listed there as part of our fee schedule update. Your departmental expenditures are as follows. I'll quickly go through them. Board of Commissioners, $124,000. Administration budget is $2,247,000. Finance is $369,000. Tax collections, $140,000. Information technology, $826,000. Public services, $1,800,000. Police, $4,002,000. Emergency management, $150,000. Building inspections, $909,000. Engineering, $688,000. Sanitation, $1,660,000. Planning and zoning, $650,000. Code enforcement, $97,000. Downtown, $250,000. Human resources, $381,000, and parks and recreation, $1,780,000. And so you'll notice as we worked through these, and the public will too, is that most of these are either just adjusted, most of them are adjusted a little bit up for our increased service cost and our increased operational cost, while a couple of them have been adjusted down as well. Your contingency, just like every year, we strive to hold back 1% of the expected revenues, and this year will be no different. We're holding back $165,000. That's part of the administration budget, and that is just, I guess you could say, used for a rainy day for any unexpected modest expenditures that come up during the course of the year, and of course they always happen, so you want to be prepared for that. We will transfer again from the general fund to the capital reserve like we do every year. In past years, it was $175,000. Last budget year was $181,000, and this year we are looking to transfer $194,000 into the capital reserve. And something I'll highlight a little bit more as we move along is we will not be utilizing that reserve as part of our capital expenditures this upcoming year. Your fund balance as of our last audit was $9,481,987. And that was 61% of last year's operating budget. If we fast forward to this operating budget, that number would be 57%. And so we probably will have a little bit at the end of this budget year that will go into fund balance, but not as much as we have been historically the last couple of years, because we just completed that budget amendment last month that moved a lot of that expected fund balance into the downtown park budget, so we could help make that fund as whole as we could. So remember that number. Your unassigned fund balance is pretty much your savings account from your general fund. And then the cemetery fund we operate historically, and it's no different this year, at $20,000 would be that budget this time. So some of your highlights of our operational expenditures. We're not really doing anything different this upcoming year than we already do this year. So as I mentioned, it's just the increased service and increased operational cost is reflected in the budget. We'll do, as we've done every year, our trash recycling, yard waste, and our renewed bulk pickup program, which is going very well. And that right now is contracted through Waste Pro, and they are contracted through this upcoming budget year through June 2023. We still have debt on the building we're standing in right now, or sitting in, the police building upfit debt payment, and that is scheduled to mature in 2028, so we still have a few years for that, and that runs us a little over $500,000. Current town hall lease, which costs us close to $120,000 per year. We have that lease in place now for hopefully no more than 2 years as we move forward with our town campus project. And the next is the town campus debt payment. We have that prepared in this upcoming budget on the operational side. And we do not expect to have a debt payment, though, probably until around this time or a little bit later next summer. So we'll utilize that for the soft costs as much as we can for town campus as we move forward. So that will pay for furniture cost, IT, audiovisual, rock blastings, things like that might have to happen on the site as we move along. Vehicle leases, we have our year 3 with Enterprise Rent-A-Car, and that will primarily focus on additional police vehicles. So I know that they're very pleased, I hear, with the trucks that they received this last time, and I expect them to put in the same order for that this upcoming budget year. We'll make our annual contribution to Waxhaw Volunteer Fire, and this year that will be in the amount of $27,500. And people may not know that we pay all the light bills on the street lights all throughout town, and so that is a regular budgetary item that is in our public services budget. And we also have our facade improvement program, which is housed in our planning and zoning budget. We budget $50,000 every year and invite folks, business owners or residential owners that own a property, have a building in downtown, and they're looking to spruce up any facade, whether it's the front, side, or the rear. Come see us. Certainly love to talk with you about that program. And we've also done some revisions, minor revisions to our event schedule. The Parks and Recreation Department did a little bit of streamlining there, and then also handed over a couple event responsibilities to our downtown department, and those are reflected in our upcoming budget. And of course, like all towns, a significant portion of your expenses is your personnel, because we are service oriented, and in order to provide services, you need people to do that. So this upcoming budget, we'd have a total number of positions, 92. We have 5 new positions included in this budget. They are 2 within our police department, a patrol officer that will round out the squad that we have short right now, as well as a evidence technician to relieve that burden from our captain and other administrative assistants. The IT department will hire a systems engineer as we've continued to grow. I'm sure you can only imagine the internal needs that we have, just from small to big, and then also our IT staff also has a heavy amount of work ahead of them in downtown park and town campus to build those systems for us as well. So that person will help out in all aspects of our IT department. Parks and Recreation has 2 positions that will be added to their department. First will be the Assistant Parks Director to help our Parks Director with some of the operational things that go on in Parks and Recreation, and then the Programming and Events Specialist to help on the events side. So it includes a cost of living adjustment for everybody at 6%, and that would be effective on July 1st, as well as I guess you would say reestablishing a longevity pay program. We do have a handful of employees that are still on a longevity pay program if they were employed from 2007 back, but we're reinstituting that town-wide so that anybody that has longevity at 5 years, 10 years, etc., would get that little bonus. And we're also able to absorb the increased insurance costs this year, thankfully, so that we didn't pass that burden on to our employees. And just as a reference, and we're right on par with just about every municipality around, within range, but our operating cost for personnel is about 51%. So moving on to our capital improvement side. So just to explain a little bit about what a capital improvement plan is. So a capital improvement plan identifies large-scale projects and equipment purchases. So think of large-scale parks projects, large-scale transportation projects like an intersection improvement, parks projects like maybe a greenway, something like that. It provides a schedule for planning and completion of those projects, and we have a 5-year CIP. Most municipalities have between a 4 to 5-year CIP, but some you'll see go up to 10 years. They also identify the funding options, which of course we do with the various funds that we utilize as part of the CIP budget. And of course there on the right-hand side, you see how we are being transparent with the public with our progress report that we update on a quarterly basis of the status of completion of each project that we have going on right now. And of course, as we move into this next budget year, that list will start to get quite a bit larger, as you'll see. But the great benefits of a capital improvement plan, it synchronizes your project planning with your budget, links our town plans with our physical capacity, and of course, most importantly, it informs the public about our investment in infrastructure. So your capital improvement budget this year would be $22,371,352.54. It's reevaluated annually, as we have done, and we'll readopt that annually, as we will do here soon. And the capital reserve, as I mentioned, stays intact. We have our current number is $2,597,093.07, and I have that plus 194, as I mentioned before. That's what we'll transfer over, so that will be added to that. And I'm happy to say that within this budget document that we will not spend out of that reserve this upcoming year, so we'll be able to keep that intact. And the main reason why that number is so large is, well, the two reasons is it houses the town campus expected borrowing number, as well as the second, as they call it, tranche expected from the American Rescue Plan from the federal, or I guess they call themselves the U.S. Treasury, and that expected amount is $2,732,352.54, which is why you have that odd cents at the end of the capital improvement budget. We expect that to be the exact same amount that we received for the first tranche. You have 7 project funds this year: Downtown Park Honorarium, the American Rescue Plan, Powell Bill, Small Transportation, Town Campus Fund, Capital Improvement Plan, and Kensington Drive Grant Fund. So we'll highlight these projects here, go through them pretty quickly, but Town Campus, of course, being the big one, with the expected $18 million project there, with an expected completion date of 2024. So we are out to bid now on that project, and just earlier today had our first furniture meeting. So that's exciting, and that's a longer process than you would think, so that's why you get started on that kind of stuff early. The small transportation plan projects will be your South Providence Street parking and sidewalk project. So we look to fix the asphalt sidewalk along South Main Street. That's in front of Bernie's Baked Goods there and the new juice shop. We would add sidewalk along South Providence and then take out those dangerous handful of angled parking spaces and replace with parallel parking there. South Broad Street will improve the block between NC 75 and Gibbon Street to accommodate better ingress and egress to our downtown park. So that will include a widening of the street, as well as adding a sidewalk to the east side of the street with an estimated cost of $350,000. The cost of South Providence Street parking and sidewalk is estimated to be $75,000. Your Powell bill, we have our street and sidewalk annual maintenance. That's your repaving. You're actually going to look at that. That's your item that was added to the agenda this evening. So that is the budget where we do asphalt resurfacing, your kind of typical asphalt repairs, typical concrete repairs. And also within the Powell bill budget, we'll be continuing on the planning for our identified transportation projects that we have started preliminary planning on. We'll continue on with Waxhaw Parkway West, the Broome Street turn lane, Waxhaw Marvin Pine Oak intersection, and Kensington Drive pedestrian projects. We will also do our obligated roundabout local match. This is for the roundabout at the intersection of NC 75 and Old Providence Road. That construction project is expected in 2025. So maybe we'll get lucky and maybe it'll go a little bit quicker if the right-of-way process goes smoothly. But we'll see here very shortly. The American Rescue Plan, as I mentioned, the second tranche payment expected this summer. So we have over $1.5 million included in the CIP budget. 4 new projects, 5 equipment services with $1.1 million in contingency. Since we have till 2026 to spend it, we figured we would identify what we thought was reasonable within a year's time, and then we'll circle back around and keep working on that in the couple of years to come. It must be encumbered by the end of 2024, must be spent by the end of 2026. So these projects are at Town Creek Park Utilities, so that's adding field and parking lighting. So we'll add some lights to the parking lot as well as to the circular greenway area. The big one will be the 12-mile greenway and Town Creek Park repairs. Anybody that has walked out there knows in what really bad shape that greenway area is, and so that will take some significant resources to fix, and we are allocating to do just that all along the 12-mile creek there within the Prescott subdivision as well as our Town Creek Park. Broadband improvements, so just like we do in this current year, we're adding fiber optic from the McDonald House over to the meeting place, the Waxhaw Library, and our public services building. We're going to do a similar project from the police department building here all the way to town campus and Nesbitt Park and Town Creek Park, so that we're able to provide better services through that avenue. That estimated cost is $130,000. We'll also hold back a small amount just for pandemic response, materials and supplies, PPE gear. We're looking to hold back $20,000 for that purpose. We'll continue with our downtown public space improvements, so we'll do some enhancements there, and that is also designed to be supplemental to the TAP project as well, and putting additional resources into that. So we have equipment and services as part of this, so we will procure a couple of different sweepers, street sweeper to be able to start a street sweeping program along our town-owned streets, primarily in subdivisions, as well as a sidewalk sweeper that could do a similar job downtown as well as our subdivision streets. A skid steer, which will be used by multi-departments for general town maintenance, as well as my favorite, a vacuum truck with a one-person operation to try to modernize that service a little bit better. Instead of having 3 or 4 public service staff on a truck, then we will have one person doing it. So that's exciting to me. And wastewater system study, we will look at our capacity needs for sewer moving forward, as well as potential treatment options for the future. And we have Kensington Drive East, and that project is starting to ramp up. You'll see some stuff, some decision making at your next meeting in June as far as contractual stuff, but we're going to start the right-of-way process for this project. That's scheduled to start here pretty soon, with construction anticipated in 2024. Our right-of-way obligation right now is $200,000, which we will have in this budget. And then the signature art feature for downtown park. Of course, we just recently went over that at a recent meeting and have that budgetary cost at $50,000 in what we're calling our downtown park honorarium fund. As we've talked about, I know a lot that our list always grows. It never seems to shrink. We're at 88 projects on the list. I am happy to say, though, that we do have 6 of them completed. So we've done really well so far in this current budget year, and we'll be able to add a couple of more to the list of on the completed side very soon. And of course, as any annual budget process, there are a lot of thank yous that need to be told. First and foremost, I want to thank the Board of Commissioners for all of your guidance, your vision, stage setting for this process. Department heads for, of course, their part in developing their budget and advocating for their resources. Finance staff is a big part of this too. Creating the budget document, template formatting, projections. Clerks do all the noticing, distribution of the materials, and admin assistants that read this stuff way more than they probably would like to, but are more than willing to help, just trying to make sure that we have all of it reviewed and edited as best as we can, catch every little thing that we can, and then all the scheduling of the meetings, and as well as customer service staff that also did the same thing, and of course Union County Tax Department for providing us the tax base numbers so we can do all this math and make it work. And as I said, it is a 6-month process. Honestly, it's a little bit longer than that, but we'll just say 6 months. We get started in the holiday season, do some preliminary work, and then I say the official kickoff is usually the retreat. During February and March, then it's heavy on the department head side creating their budget, and then of course it transitions over to finance staff and admin through March and April to get the document together, and then we have our budget workshop, and then here we are at public hearing, and hopefully next will be adoption, and our recommendation would be approving the fiscal year 22-23 budget. We would ask that the board do that in 3 motions. First motion would be to adopt the 22-23 operating budget and ordinance 2022-007. A motion to adopt the 23-27 capital improvement plan, and then a motion to adopt 22-23 capital improvement budget and ordinance 2022-008, and of course that would be the request at our upcoming next meeting, which would be June 14th. And I'm certainly happy to answer any questions that that you have. We can go back or anything like that if you have anything that you'd like to revisit. So just want to say how proud I am of all of our staff, and just how happy I am of the support that I've gotten from all the board members through this process. It really can be an enjoyable process, and I will say that it has been.
Well, it's certainly I guess the second to the last slide over there on the acknowledgments is a big deal, because everybody now seems to be leaning in the right direction and in the same direction. So I got to applaud all of you in this room, online, staff that doesn't hear us until tomorrow when they look at this as well, and certainly the board for doing all the legwork all these months, like I say, 6-7 months. We started Christmas time or so around those, go through the retreat, and then work it every month to get to here where we are today. So I want to say, from my personal standpoint, is thank you to everyone who has contributed to all this, the effort, the time. It's a lot of work, but here we are. So any thoughts, questions for Mr. Wells? We all have been down this road several times during the last few months, so if no questions, comments at all, we'll move on and try to do the same at the next meeting for you. and get this done so we can move on. Charlie, there was not that I hear any public comment? I'm sorry? Oh, they can, I guess it's public. I know most of the people in the room, so that's fine. Anybody brave enough to stand up at the podium with us and then be public comment? I love it. Right, exactly. All right, so thank you everyone for all the hard work. It really is a lot of work and it's diligent. You guys marched along with it every step of the way, so thank you for that.
Thank you very much.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Great, I didn't even have to ask for it. All right, the motion's up to close the public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All fine. All right, thank you, everyone. All right, we'll move over to item I1, old business. So on this one, we have our Planning and Inspections Director, Lisa Thompson, do a second round of information on this one. So, Lisa, I'm going to let the floor be yours.
Thank you, Mayor. All right, so since we did the public hearing last meeting, I'll go a little bit quicker. Good evening, I'm here tonight to present a rezoning. This is a request by the town for a rezoning from Union County B4 to NC Neighborhood Center. It's for property located at 8215 Waxhaw Highway. The northern portion was recently annexed last month. It's outlined in blue. It's a total of 4.195 acres. The subject property abuts Waxhaw Highway to the north. You have Main Street Station to the north, which is zoned NC, and then the museum property to the south, which is zoned R1. Future land use map designates the subject property as MX, mixed use. These typically are your neighborhood type of commercial uses, walkable neighborhoods with a variety of housing options. Recommended zoning district for the property is NC, Neighborhood Center. It allows for smaller scale offices, neighborhood-oriented retail and services, as well as cottage homes, townhomes, duplexes, tris, and quads. It's at a rate of no more than 8 units per acre. Staff has provided a draft reasonableness and consistency statement for you guys to review, adopt, or modify. Planning Board reviewed the petition April 19th. They unanimously recommended approval. And then the Board of Commissioners, you guys held your public hearing May 10th. So no public comments have been received to date. And then the requested action and recommendation is a motion to approve the rezoning and to adopt the land use plan consistency statement as presented.
Very good. So this is the property we've looked at last month, or last meeting, I guess it was, on the public hearing. This is around our leaf operation over there and around the property that is known as the Waxhaw Museum of the Waxhaws. So any questions for Miss Lisa?
Just want to clarify for anyone watching that there is a percentage that needs to be retail or commercial. It's not going to be an entire housing.
Yes, we approved that text amendment about 2 months ago, so they would be subject to the current ordinance.
Any other questions? All right, so on this one, we're looking for a motion on this. Can I have a motion on it, please?
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve general rezoning petition RZ 0138-02-2022 and the reasonableness and consistency statement. The request is consistent with the comprehensive plan and future planning goals of the town of Waxhaw. It is reasonable and in the public interest as it is consistent with the recommended growth and density for the area, and it will allow for a mixed-use walkable development in close proximity to downtown.
Very good. Thank you, Commissioner. Appreciate that. All right, so the motion is up to approve. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
5-0. Thank you. Thank you, Lisa. Appreciate that. All right, we'll move down to decision on general zoning. This is number 2 on the item, decision on general rezoning petition RZ 0136-614-2022. And on this one, we have Ms. Janet up to give us some more detail on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. So this petition is a request by Green Street Land Company for rezoning from R1 to R4 for property located at 8215 Waxhaw Highway. This is the property known as the museum property, and this request for rezoning applies only to the southern portion of the parcel, approximately 16 acres. The current zoning map shows the surrounding properties. The portion to the north just rezoned to the town-owned public services site and single-family residences, all zoned NC. To the east, existing single-family subdivision, zoned R3. To the south is the elementary school, zoned R1, and to the west, single-family residences, zoned R3 and county R10, and a vacant parcel zoned county B4. The future land use map shows this as a property as medium density. This designation provides a density that's consistent with traditional suburban style housing and is utilized throughout town for a majority of its established subdivisions and for large parcels of land that do not yet have water or sewer but could accommodate a density of 3 to 5 units per acre. The requested rezoning for the property is R4. Remember, the land use plan map said 3 to 5 units per acre. R4 allows for 4 units per acre with the potential for up to 5 units for a cluster subdivision, which would be a good transition from the adjacent R3 and NC districts. Staff has provided a draft reasonableness and consistency statement that can be adopted or modified as needed. At the April 19th Planning Board meeting, the board voted 3-1 for a favorable recommendation and 3-1 for a favorable recommendation of the reasonableness and consistency statement. The dissenting member voiced concern about the number of units permitted in a cluster subdivision, especially located next to an elementary school. The public hearing was held on May 10th. We did have a couple of comments. They're both from residents of the Hermitage Place subdivision, which is the adjacent subdivision. Primary concern for the first resident was drainage, and we had explained that they didn't have detention requirements when it was annexed from the county, and that the subject property will have to detain to the 10-year storm, which may help divert the sheet flow. The other resident's primary concern was the design of the structures of the townhomes. She felt that the building should reflect the character of downtown Waxhaw. And staff did explain that state statute 160D prohibits local governments from regulating building design for single-family and two-family dwellings. While we can work with the developer and make recommendations, we cannot regulate the design. The requested action this evening is a motion to approve rezoning petition RZ 0134-3614-2022 and to adopt the reasonableness and consistency statement as presented.
Very good. So up for any questions for Ms. Janet? There's, this is the same property that we talked about earlier. This is the Museum of the Waxhaws property there again. So any questions? And I think we have a owner's rep online with us as well. Any questions to him or Ms. Janet? Okay, I think we've all been down this road before on this one, so a lot of work's been done beforehand. So at this point, since there's no comments, questions anywhere else, I'm going to ask for a motion, please. My motion master.
Make a motion to approve general rezoning petition RZ 013614-2022. And the original consistency statement is as follows. The request is consistent with the comprehensive plan and future plan goals of the town of Waxhaw. It is reasonable and in the public interest, as is consistent with the recommended growth and density for the area.
All right, thank you, Commissioner, for that again. So we have motion up, so all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
5 around. So thank you, appreciate that. Thanks, Janet, for bringing that to our attention again and going through it with us again. And thank you for watching online with us. I can see you over there, so you can wave to us. So, all right, we'll move down to the next one is the decision on the special use petition. We looked at this last time around. So on this, we have Ms. Janet up again to finish this one off for us. Floor is yours.
Okay, just waiting for the slides. Okay, so this one was a special use permit for the groomery to add an animal kennel to the existing dog grooming business located at 3919 Providence Road South. The LDC defines a kennel, including overnight boarding of animals for persons other than the owner of the lot. We looked at the permit application, and the applicant had provided some supplemental information. They plan to board a maximum of 10 dogs. The dogs will be small to medium in size, with possibly some elderly dogs that might be a little bit larger. Each dog will be assessed for size, demeanor, bark noise level. If a dog is not determined to be a good fit, it will not be accepted as a boarder. There will be no change to the current lighting. Drop-off and pickup will be during the regular business hours of 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. Boarding facilities are licensed and inspected by the North Carolina Department of Agriculture. The state regulations include a space per dog requirement, and local veterinarian must also inspect and approve the environment. Additionally, dogs will be walked individually in a grassy area behind the building or along the sidewalk. They will be double leashed with both a harness and a slip lead so that they don't get loose, and waste will be placed in a dog waste bag and disposed of properly. We looked at the floor plan, which shows you the 10 kennel locations inside the building. There will be no kennels located outside of the building. The aerial view of the building, the groomery is indicated by that red marker and surrounded by other commercial businesses. We took a look at the Waxhaw zoning map. The groomery is located in the building outlined in blue and zoned quarter commercial and is surrounded by other quarter commercial zone lots. Planning Board had unanimously approved a motion for a favorable recommendation with the condition per the applicant's site plan that the kennels will remain in the interior of the building and no kennels for overnight boarding will be allowed. Public hearing was held on May 10th. There were no comments received, and staff recommends approval of this. Board of Commissioners shall issue a special use permit if it has evaluated an application and finds each of the following facts to be true. Finding number 1, the proposed use will not materially endanger the public health or safety. Finding number 2, the proposed use will comply with all regulations and standards generally applicable within the zoning district and specifically applicable to the particular type of special use or class of special uses. Finding number 3, the proposed use will not substantially injure the value of adjoining property. Finding number 4, the proposed use will be in harmony with the area in which it is located. Conditions are permitted to be attached to a special use permit, and any conditions must be agreed to in writing by both parties. And the requested action tonight is a motion for an affirmative determination for the findings of fact, and a second motion to approve the petition as presented or with conditions. Questions?
Any questions on this? So we're looking for 2 motions tonight on this? Is that what we're looking
Yes, sir.
for? Okay, very good. So we've all seen this just the last go-around. I think the applicant is here with us. Any additional questions to the presenter or the applicant?
Have there been any comments, positive or negative, from any of the other businesses surrounding?
No comments?
Any other thoughts, questions? We'll move on. So we're looking for a motion. On the first part was motion for an affirmative determination, so I'll let that one go out to who wants to make the motion.
I'll make a motion for an affirmative determination for the findings of fact.
Very good. Motion's up for the finding of fact. All in favor?
Aye.
5 around. Okay, second motion.
I'll make a motion to approve special use permit SU 01364-2022 as presented.
All right, motion's up to approve the petition, so all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
5 around. Okay, thank you. Congratulations. Moving on. wish you much success. All right, so up next, we have Ms. Lisa, I think again this time. This is the decision on tax amendment, or text amendment, I'm sorry. Tax amendment, there we go. TA 0136632. So, Lisa, floor is yours.
Awesome, thank you. I'm excited about this one. So this is a text amendment by the Planning Department. It's to amend Section 8.9, Open Space of the Land Development Code. It adds H, it's titled Dedication of Recreation Areas and Open Space Land. 160D 804 is the state statute, allows the town to require a developer to contribute recreation land donation or fee in lieu. The formula shall be based on the property tax value, and the town is able to mix fee in lieu funds with land dedication. Within your text in the staff report, we have general provisions. This will be a requirement for all major subdivisions, which are 9 lots or more. And the decision for the land or fee in lieu shall rest with you all, and we'll do that at the preliminary plat stage. So we went through this in detail during the public hearing, but we want to make sure it's a single parcel of land, it's usable for active recreation. We want to make sure it's located where it's accessible and not in floodplain land. So we have provisions for all this criteria. So the calculation for the amount of land to be dedicated is 1/35 of an acre for each dwelling unit proposed, or the tax value of that land. So last time we did this example, it was 100 acres at 3 units per acre, that's 300 units. The developer would be required to donate a 8.5 acre park or pay the town a fee in lieu of $557,142. To put this in context, I did run this formula through an existing subdivision. I used Lawson. They have about 1,020 units. This would be a 30-acre park donation if this would come to us today. And based on the $65,000 per acre assumption, it would be a $1.9 million fee in lieu. But if you figure the 3.14 average per household, that's 3,422 people in Lawson, so you're getting a 30-acre lot, 30-acre park, which goes back to the recommended 1-acre park or rec facility per 100 people. So mitigates those impacts. Planning Board reviewed the text March 15th. They unanimously recommended approval. Board of Commissioners held your public hearing May 10th. No comments have been received. With the text amendment, we also have to do the reasonableness and consistency statement, which has been provided in your packet. So we are looking for a motion to approve the text amendment and the land use plan consistency statement as provided.
Great, thank you. A lot of effort. I will congratulate you on the effort to put all this together for us, and this is probably a first here in this town to do that. So we are growing and we are learning. And so any questions and comments around? Did I see your mic go on? Anybody's? A lot of work on this, and this will benefit everybody in town.
Yeah.
Everyone.
So, all right, any other thoughts and questions? We've been down this road. Thanks for the presentation again. So if there's no further questions, I'm going to ask for a motion on this.
I make a motion to approve text amendment TA 013632-2022 and the reasonableness and consistency statement. The text amendment request is consistent with the comprehensive plan and future planning goals of the town of Waxhaw in that it implements identified open space and parks projects in the adopted plans and is reasonable and in the public interest, as the text amendment helps accommodate the recreational needs of the residents. It helps require the development of parks and greenways and expands the applicability of the fee in lieu system.
Outstanding. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. All right, motion is up for the approval on this one. Who's got the motion? And I guess we're in there, so I guess we'll call for a vote. Sorry about that, getting ahead of myself. So all in favor on this?
Aye.
5-0. Thank you. Appreciate that. Thanks, Lisa. All right, we'll jump down to new business. And this is, Mr. Madison is up on this one. This is first reading of proposed changes to the Town Code of Ordinances. I'll let you have the floor. Madison, it's yours.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, everyone. Just give 1 second for everything. So I am before you tonight to bring forward an update to our Code of Ordinances. This is a request by your Code Enforcement Department to amend Section 34, our Health and Sanitation, and Section 66, our Parking Regulations. So these are updates that we are requesting to better assist with enforcement as we see fit in the community. So diving right in, our health and sanitation section includes our weeds, grass, and the like. So we are adding language to include logs and tree materials as enforceable combustible material. We are also adding language to include vacant land, structures, and accessory structures. So by this, we're going to ensure that they remain safe, well-maintained, and structurally sound. And then in our penalties section of this, we will increase the stagnant water fee from $25 to $50. And so the bigger update is going to be in our parking regulations. So we currently allow parking within 15 feet of a fire hydrant and of an intersection. So we're increasing that 15 feet to 25 feet. So I coordinated with our fire marshal, and so he feels that this is reasonable to request for the fire hydrant parking. So we looked in our downtown area, and there's only one fire hydrant that this would be an issue with, and it's currently located outside of the bike depot. And so the area in front of it is currently a designated parking spot. Everything else was within reason. And so for our section 66-21, this is our parking regulations for our trucks, trailers, motor coaches, and the like. So I've done a little bit of some language cleanup here. It makes references to motor coaches, but by general statute, a motor coach is defined as a recreational vehicle, which includes many definitions. So this is just a bit of a language cleanup just for clarity. So you'll see that the language for motor coach has been changed to recreation vehicles. And now our unlicensed and special commercial vehicles are its own section. And currently we have a regulation that allows unlicensed vehicle to be parked in the right-of-way for 60 days. So we're hoping to remove that 60-day requirement. And then we've also added an additional definition for a special and commercial vehicle. This definition was formerly located in our Unified Development Ordinance, and it did not make its way into the Land Development Code, so we just want to add it here just for additional clarity as well. And then probably the last section that we've updated is going to be the parking penalties. So we have revised them entirely, so they increase with each additional citation, and then we have increased the overall price as well as parking issues continues to be an ongoing problem. So then we have also added a parking penalty for parking in a no-event parking area during an event. So recently you all adopted a no-event parking for some of our side streets in downtown, so we wanted to add a specific parking penalty for this. So our recommendation at a later meeting is for the approval of these proposed updates and changes, but for tonight, code enforcement staff is looking for additional feedback or any questions or comments. And I am open to any and all questions, and I have Also brought along my code enforcement inspector, who is out driving the streets every day to assist me.
Very good. Thank you on that. Yeah, partner in crime over there. I see you, Larry. That's great. Good to have you here tonight. All right, so I got to applaud everybody for in this venue here to constantly take a look at issues and be proactive in taking corrective action and bringing it to us, to our attention, so we can make these kind of revisions. So I want to say thank you to your crew, and I know you're out there every day because I see you out there every day, so I really do appreciate that. So any thoughts, comments?
I have questions,
Commissioner Westlake.
just mainly because I don't know examples. What would be an example of the stagnant water?
So a good example of this is a homeowner with a pool, and so the pool, let's say, has been drained, and over the course of the summer, it continues to fill with just rainwater. So the water becomes stagnant. We've actually had this issue within the last year, to where a family was no longer maintaining their pool. The pool became a good infestation of mosquitoes, and so we didn't feel that the $25 a day penalty is enough of a motivator to get the issue remedied.
So what, so like a large, what you call a retaining pond or something like that off, would that be considered, like, say if there's no movement as far as water, like any type of aeration in there, would that be considered stagnant water?
I don't think so, because a detention pond and a retention pond, well, a detention pond is supposed to slowly drain the water into either a stream or a creek or something else. So if that's not happening, that's another underlying issue for stormwater. But for a retention pond, no, this is more for like if there's a well that's exposed and there's water accumulating. And then also we have a nuisance vehicle to where if it's open to the elements, it can retain water. So something kind of similar to that.
Okay, and then final question. So on the unlicensed vehicles in residential zoning districts, so is that just, you said right of way, or would that be in personal driveways?
So it's a bigger issue in the right of way. So typically if the vehicle's parked in the driveway, we tend to leave those alone, but we have many cases even currently where there are vehicles parked in the right of way with stickers dating from like August 2018. And so by our ordinance now, they could remove the vehicle out of the right of way and then place it back every 60 days.
I think it generally applies to in the street right away. You really would have a really hard time making an effective ordinance
Unless
unless it was
you're
a
an HOA
nuisance,
or
right?
something
HOA
like
or
that.
something like that. So as to protect our traffic lanes.
Okay, that's all.
All right. Any other questions for our presenters? Conversation? Commissioner
Question
Simpson.
was, this wouldn't be for cars that are parking on the street. Regular vehicles that park on the street.
Like
Correct.
License.
And you're sitting there for like 2 or 3 months?
Well, let's say I want to park my car in front of my house.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, there's no issues with being properly parked in front
Well,
of
I
the
know
house.
sometimes in some of the communities, there's people, it's hard for people to go down the streets if everyone parks on the street for fire trucks or for safety and things, because people are parking on two sides of the street.
Yeah.
So this doesn't apply to any of that, just be unlicensed.
Yeah, the
Unregistered
specific
vehicles.
Yeah, for unlicensed vehicle, yes, that is correct. But we do have in our ordinance for being double parked, as you mentioned, to where it becomes more difficult for an emergency vehicle to pass. And that's I would say one of our biggest issues thus far is some of our neighborhoods have a large amount of vehicles parked on the road. So we're trying to coordinate more and do more outreach and have people be more aware and familiarize themselves with parking on the street.
I know sometimes that's with school buses too. They can't
Yeah.
get by. Is that like a code enforcement issue, or is that like a police issue? Is that something?
So typically, the way our ordinance reads, code enforcement staff is for junk, abandoned, and nuisance vehicles on private property. Most of the enforcement within the right-of-way is more of a police enforcement, but we kind of work in tandem to get the job done. So we're out every day looking and driving to ensure compliance. So it's a team effort.
Just to be clear, parking in the right-of-way, legal parking, that's not something that our police department enforces. Is that correct?
Legal park, no. There's no, you're allowed to park within the right-of-way. We're not discouraging that. We're trying to discourage being improperly parked. So, for example, within the last week, we had a vehicle park in a through lane. Didn't try to move to the curb, didn't try to do anything. So we're trying to just educate on proper parking techniques.
Mayor, if
Town
I may
Attorney?
add
Yes.
something. What it really is aimed at is storage of vehicles, actually junk vehicles in the public right-of-way, what it boils down to. They're not licensed, so they are in essence a junk vehicle just stored in the right-of-way. So it's against outdoor storage in the right-of-way.
And just a little bit more clarification, if I can get that from you. This is dealing with unlicensed vehicles, but a licensed vehicle can use the right-of-way, but it can also be subject to sitting for an extended period of time without movement, even though it's licensed. Is that correct?
Yeah, so if a law enforcement officer sees that a vehicle is parked for a certain amount of time, I think our ordinance specifies 7 days, they can consider that a traffic issue or a movement issue, and so they can enforce that as well.
Okay, just to be clear, so we're looking for things that aren't licensed, haven't been moved, and as the town attorney says, something that would be classified as a junk vehicle or nuisance vehicle.
That's correct.
Okay. All right, everybody clear? Very good. Thank you for those questions, and unless there's any other questions for our presenters, thank you very much. And again, thank you for continuously combing through all these things and proactively dealing with issues as they come up. So we really appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. All right, we'll move to item number 2, which we dropped down from the agenda tonight, and our presenter on that is our Assistant Town Manager and Town Engineer, Matt Hubert, and this is the paving contract. So you can tell us all about why we moved it to here.
Yeah, very excited. I think everybody wanted to see my face and hear my voice.
Yes, that's exactly why. In
Clearly,
fact, we requested it.
This is not a consent agenda item. And then I have to remember how to use this thing. It's been a while. So I'm bringing before you the this year's asphalt repair contract. Basically, it's a small contract, and it's really not much resurfacing. It's really about repairing sections of pavement throughout town that are failing to a point where we want to go ahead and replace them before we do something to overlay those areas. Working with Public Services, there are boots on the ground, and so they've identified these areas, and we put the contract together based on that. We do have set a contract date. Previously, we had not been doing that to allow the contractor flexibility, but lately that's not been in our favor. They've been taking a long time to get to it, so we have added that to the work. It did come in under our estimate, so these are the bids received. Trull Contracting was the apparent low bidder at just under $230,000, and we do recommend that we award the contract to Trull. There's the long and the short of it.
The long and the short of it is good. So essentially, we as a board have to approve the go-ahead on this contract for you. That's what you're asking for, and that was
To direct the town manager to engage in that contract. Right.
exactly. And we got this in our packet, or an addendum to the packet today, I believe it was, or yesterday. I can't remember which day it was. But so, any questions for Matt?
Matt, I did have a question for you, only because I found this interesting. I saw a 30% difference between the high bid and the low bid, almost over $100,000, and it got me wondering: when they put asphalt down, is there like a depth or something of that nature?
So
How it would
it
be
is
so much less?
specified at what rate, and so that is standard, so everybody's bidding on the same item.
Okay.
Typically, what that would be is overhead, amount of projects they already have scheduled, profit. I mean, sometimes they'll submit bids just to see if they happen to get the low bid, then they've got it. But if we get a number of bidders, then that bid needs to be more competitive in order to secure the award.
Okay, that answers my question.
I have a question.
Commissioner Simpson?
And I know we go along with the kind of the lowest bidder, but do we factor in quality? Do we have like reputations of
Sure.
like?
No, we definitely are familiar, and if we are not familiar with the contractor, then we familiarize ourselves with their work and follow up on projects they've done recently and anybody they've done work for. And so we did get the thumbs up that Trull is a very responsible contractor, and we're interested again in trying to spread relationships across many. So this is another opportunity to do that.
Okay, very good. Question answered? Great, thank you. All right, any other questions? All right, so motion on this, I guess, is what we need tonight. And I don't have my screen.
You could just direct Jeff to
right.
execute the
Let's
contract.
see, I have it.
Go ahead.
I'll make a motion to approve contract with Trull Contracting LLC for $229,733 for the 2022 asphalt repair, and authorize the town manager to execute the contract.
Very good. Thank you, Commissioner. Appreciate that. All right, so the motion's up to give them the green light to go ahead. So all in favor?
Aye.
5 up. Let's go.
Thank you.
Go for it. Appreciate that. Thank you. All right, we'll move down to our town leadership reports tonight. We'll start back with Town Manager Jeffrey Wells.
Thank you, Mayor. Two quick things. Our town campus project is currently out to bid to general contractors. It got released late this past week. Bids are due on June 23rd, and we have our RFPs out now for a bank loan, and that is due on June 15th. So this all should culminate very soon at the end of June, where the board will make those decisions, and then that packet will be put together to the LGC, which we have to have that turned in by early July to be on their August approval as part of their meeting. And so if they do that at their early August meeting, then we would be looking to probably close by the end of August, and then moving forward sometime in the fall with starting the project.
Awesome.
So
That'd just be exciting.
that's the expectation. And then the other small thing is just a reminder that some of us, specifically 3 of us along with myself, Board of Commissioners, will be traveling up to Belmont tomorrow to take a field trip to visit their Main Street program and talk with some of their staff, as well as a couple of elected officials as well there, just to learn more about how they run their quasi Main Street program there. So that's all I have this evening.
Very good. More learning, more growing, more growing, more learning. I think that's awesome. And thank all you guys for making the effort to go up there, taking the trip up there to really look into this for us. And I think we've gotten a lot of support, a lot of information from the downtown manager as well to orchestrate all this for you guys. So I'm going to tell you, enjoy the trip tomorrow. It's a nice place to be. They've done a pretty good job over there. So, all right, if that's it from the town manager, engineering, Matt, any of your crew up tonight? You're back up for a little bit. Come on and join us.
Get my steps in. I walked all the way back there.
Count them.
Yeah, just some quick items. One of these is a little bit old, but I'm really excited and pleased how well it went. But the McDonald Street project is done, new parking and sidewalk, and that one was quick and painless and on time and under budget, and always happy to announce those. Another follow-up, the widening for NC 16 from DOT. they've been refiguring all of their projects, and I think you're aware, but just for everybody in general to say, that is back on the STIP programming, and it is going to be completed. Construction is slated for 2028. So in COVID and the budget issues that DOT were having, we only lost a year on that, and I was crossing my fingers on that because I was afraid it was going to be a lot worse, so.
Did you say it'd be completed in 28?
That's when construction will begin.
Begin, okay.
Right.
Yeah, it's begin right away, and then construction, the completion, I think, is 2032 or 30.
It could be. I mean,
Right.
again, they go out, they're not far enough along. They're really in right of way and finishing the design, but it is fully funded, and so that's the issue that I was most concerned about.
We've all worked very hard, Matt included, on this to keep it on the STIP. You know, it's subject to a lot of scrutiny these days, so.
Yeah, no, that's our
Well
lifeline,
done.
and a lot of projects, a lot of localities did not get so lucky, and so I'm knocking on wood here that the damage is controlled as much. It's still a long ways off, but it's in a better window than it could be. Follow along on that is our Kensington Drive project that was frozen for a number of years. That's now been approved for right-of-way authorization, so we're back on track and almost on schedule, considering the number of years that it had been on hold. So that one is moving forward now. And then one item of note, we have 11 current TIAs in various phases, so that's a new record for the town and speaks to how much people are looking to try and get projects of that nature through. And again, we're going to be doing a lot of analysis to make sure that it's done responsibly when we talk about the traffic concerns, which is the number one issue. Update on the bridge steps. They will begin replacing the steps on the north side of the tracks next month, and ideally will be well complete before the 4th of July festivities to be able to take advantage of safer egress up and down the Ped Bridge. The next RRFB installation is going to be for Red Oaks Drive, and then following that will be at Kingston and at Church Street. Town bridge inspections are underway right now. We do that under contract with DOT, so that's just a general item for awareness that happens every couple of years for our own bridges that we maintain. And that's the long and the short of it.
Very good. All right, thank you. Any questions?
Matt, I know I asked you, but just for the public, that if people are out and about and they see the
Pneumatic.
yeah, if you could just maybe, just for the public, anybody's watching, if they're
Sure.
driving around town and see the traffic counters, they'll,
Right, and that's DOT on a regular annual basis. They update their traffic counts for their own planning purposes, and they make that available on their website as well. It's a really good website. It's connect.ncdot.gov, and they have just a large amount of information. If you're bored and you can't sleep, log on and you'll be able to click on the traffic counts. Average daily traffic counts are available, and they have some pretty good interactive. They do it by time of day, all kinds of things you can really get into the weeds on, but that's what those are, is they regularly count those locations for their facilities to stay abreast of that.
Are you talking about the one that was on Pine Oak, or?
well, there's one on Cuthbertson, there's one out in front of Lowe's on 16, and I think there's a couple others around, so
There
they're
was one
scattered
on
throughout.
Pine Oak,
Sure.
and that's been moved. So I was just wondering if.
Yeah, no,
They're
that's
everywhere.
what it is.
Okay.
They're going to cover all the streets in town, all their streets really in general that handle major traffic. They use that all the time to stay up to date on their numbers and make changes as that facility may come to capacity.
Very good. We're growing still. That's good. All right. Thank you, Matt. Appreciate that. There's no other questions. To see Miss Dina's up next. She's rocking back there and waiting to come up. Parks and Rec Director, Dina Sabinski, give us your spiel.
Good evening again. Before I get started, I wanted to give a major kudos to Miss Lisa for helping get that loo. That's,
Say it out loud.
that is a game changer for us as a town, and I'm just so excited about it. So, thank you. Let's get started. We are finishing up our program guide for our winter and spring. That ends in June, and a new one will come out soon. I'm actually working with the program staff to premiere that next week, so we're excited about that. But how you register is through our Rec Desk program, and if you have any questions, please call the office. Our walking group is going strong on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Please join them. The next class of senior fitness is coming up in about a week and a half, so please join. We have 15 strong in that class, and they rotate out at the Methodist Church or in the their pavilion in the lawn area as well. Coming up this week actually is pottery is tomorrow night. If you'd like to come and join us, we still have room. And then Mr. Peter is having a new sculpture class for our veterans coming up in June, so there's still room for that, and that's at the McDonald House. We have another pottery class coming up, also a charcuterie class, so we're going strong in June. And then we also have a little Cooks with Fun Books with Miss Justine and Miss Riley, and that is at the McDonald House, and they have fun treats, and the Union County Library is helping us out with storytelling. We're partnering up with another Waxhaw business, the AR workshop for an art camp coming up at the end of June, so please join us for that. A really cool Father's Day present would be a home brewing class with Dream Chasers, another partnership with a town-owned business, and Queen South has a great date night for the mixology class. Miss Justine and Miss Riley is holding a night hike at the Suspension Bridge coming up mid-June. Please join us and sign up for that activity, as we've got all of your little lanterns and your headlamps to come out there and just have a great night and come out on the trail with us. Upcoming hero, tomorrow we're at Harrison Park with Fairy Houses. Next week we are at Town Creek with a reading fun day. And then we switch hours for our summer from June to August at 9:30, and we're going to do a water day at Nesbitt. Just want to recap some of the artists that were with us at Kaleidoscope. We had wonderful entries. We had over 250 entries from our students from Union County in the school district, and plus with homeschoolers. So I just wanted to give a shout out. These are our finalists for the high schoolers, and they just did an awesome job. Coming up this Monday is Memorial Day. It's at the Wall of Honor in our downtown. The basic agenda is there. It's a wonderful ceremony, very moving. We also have Miss Edna back with giving out some quilts as well. So please join us on Monday morning at 10 a.m. Jamming by the Tracks start back next week as well. We're excited. So we're every other week in the summer. So first one is June 3rd. Mr. Andrew is coming out and singing for us. It's at the Community Corner and off of McDonald Street. We have food trucks and a few activities as well. Also, we have Juneteenth is coming up to save the date. That is on June 19th. That's a Sunday on that afternoon. And we are definitely a family-friendly, educational through arts and music event. So please come and join us for that. I'm going to go back for a second. We have an activity that's coming up on June 4th, a Saturday. The Carolina Thread Trail chose us as their highlight for the Trail Day, National Trail Day, and that's on June 4th. So we will be at Nesbitt Park for the trailhead area and walking the trail for 12 Mile Creek. So I thought that was really cool. The park, downtown park is going really well. There's lots of movement out there, so all the clearing is done. Now we're starting to set up the pathways and the pad. We're making sure our tree save areas are taken care of. So you'll see a lot more movement happening rapidly throughout the park site. So it's just extremely exciting to see it coming out of the ground. So just want to give you a heads up on that. The Barnes restroom is going well, nicely as well. We're finishing up the plumbing and electrical area for that, and then pouring the pad. Crossing our fingers, hopefully to have it ready by mid-July. This is your last chance to get a brick. So we're ending the brick donation at the end of June. This is your chance to be a part of the park and around our new art feature that will be down there. So if you have any questions, we are pros now at signing people up, walking you through it. So please go ahead and get those orders in and be a part of our new park. And I'll leave you with our vision and mission, and if you have any questions.
All right, just a comment that I will have. A big thank you for the successful event that you had on the Kaleidoscope. A lot of great comments. A lot of us were all able to be there and participate. Some of us got to work the booth a little bit and have a lot of very positive comments from people in our community and even outside of our community as well. Everybody is watching us, so I want to say thank you, and all of your crew and everybody who put that together
It's definitely
and
a
took
team
it down.
effort, yes.
Yeah, it's definitely a team effort, so I want to say thank you for that. It was a great job, great event, even when it rained at 3 o'clock.
Yes, I couldn't control the weather on that one, but
You got to work on that one.
I know. It's all good, though. But yes, the totally team event. I mean, it really, our town events, it takes all of us, and I know I've got a lot of citizen input about all the cool projects that we're doing, so having that out there too really highlights what we're doing as a town, so appreciate your all support on that.
It does. Thank you for that. Any other comments, thoughts from anybody around the table here? Okay, thank you, Dina.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. All right, we're down to us on this stuff. Interesting little tidbit that I came across the other day talked about cities with the fastest growing home prices in the Charlotte metro area. That includes a lot of area. And they categorized 30 towns within the region. And Waxhaw was number 3 on that list behind Marvin and Weddington. So we are growing. People want what we have. They're paying for it to get here. And so I think that's pretty impressive. That shows that we are literally on the map. And, you know, we will have more and more things come to us for all kinds of reasons because of, again, people wanting to be in our town, both in new construction and also existing homes that are reselling. Those numbers are going up, and those numbers help us with our budget. I don't even say problems because it's not. So it's a really good thing to see that we're recognized. I think this was out on Fox 46 maybe yesterday. And so if you guys want to read that article, you can see, you know, how strong our numbers are here in the region. So we're getting there. We're getting very recognized, very visible. So all to everybody's effort. So I appreciate that. All right, any comments from any other board members? Mayor Pro Tem will be representing us on Memorial Day over there. I will be out of the area, so she'll be there. Come out and visit. I know you just love doing that. So thank you for that. Appreciate the coverage on that. All right, Charlie, you have any thoughts, comments to add to the group?
No comments, but I just well, this is a comment, but nothing to add really. But just wish all of you a dutiful Memorial Day. I would say happy, but this is not a happy occasion, and we make the mistake in the public of saying Happy Memorial Day, but that's not what Memorial Day is all about. So I wish all of you a dutiful, safe Memorial Day weekend.
Thank you, Charlie. Appreciate that. Okay, nothing on closed session tonight, so I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good night, Mary Ellen.
have my sustenance to get home.